Hey guys, this is episode 3 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint, and we have a special guest here today, Mr. Dee Frazier from Brooklyn, New York.
What's good? What's good?
He's been at on the JUCO levels, Division 1, and now he's at the NAIA level. D, thanks for having you. I'm sorry, thanks for having us.
Hey, don't down that. Hey, don't forget about the D2 level now, baby.
So my first question for you is, talk about your coaching philosophy.
Offensively and defensively. Offensively, I'm just a free-flowing guy to play for. Just pretty much, I'm gonna put you in spots where you could be you, and I think that's a lot of things that the coaches are missing nowadays. It's just they want to run their own offense that is predicated on what they believe in. But I mean, if I got scorers and I got guys that I could put the ball into, man, I just let them rock out. Defensively, I'm a ass defensively. I don't know if I could curse on here, but I'm an ass defensively. I kind of took Frank Martin from University of South Carolina style. So what that is just pretty much up in your chest, denying everything, up the line shit. So I mean, pretty much in defensive end, we just gonna get into you. We're gonna try to be the most aggressive team night in and night out.
So, when did basketball first start becoming a part of your life?
From young, I played a little bit of AAU. Actually, I started off CYO, and after CYO, I played a little bit of AAU. After AAU, about 6th or 7th grade, I switched and played football, and I played football all throughout high school. I didn't play basketball until about junior year high school. So basketball always been there, but football was always the first love.
So where did you play football at?
Canarsie High School in Brooklyn, New York.
Shout out to Canarsie High School. Go Chiefs.
Definitely.
You also graduated from Canarsie, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I graduated, at the time, it was Canarsie Educational Campus, because I went to one of the small schools that were in there. The year that I actually applied to Canarsie, my 8th grade year, that's pretty much when they tell everybody, like, hey, we're phasing out the school due to poor performance and things like that.
So talk about, growing up in Bed-Stuy.
Bed-Stuy was tough. I mean, it was tough because I saw a lot of things that I'm actually glad that I saw at a young age. I mean, that's what I think separates a city kid from a down south kid or a Midwest kid. We see things at 18 that a lot of other kids don't see until they get to college. So I think just growing up in Bed-Stuy was pretty cool. My dad was always around. Mom and dad was always around. And the good thing about it is, even though my dad had a great job, he was also in the streets as well. So a lot of top dudes in the streets respected my dad, kind of feared my dad. And that pretty much paved the way for me. So anytime I was walking to school, guys would see me and be like, hey, that's little D, that's little D. So the Bed-Stuy was definitely cool. Growing up in Brooklyn was a great experience. And I hope everybody would have the same experience I had growing up.
Now talk about the basketball culture in Brooklyn.
Back then or now, or just in general?
In general.
Oh man, basketball in Brooklyn, I mean, it's definitely essential. Like I think that's one of them things during this COVID-19 thing. Basketball is very essential in Brooklyn. And I think one of the worst decisions they did was taking down those hoops around our neighborhood and stuff like that. But I mean, Brooklyn, as you know, has a lot of professional hoopers, a lot of guys on the Division 1 level, Division 2 level, and just guys in college basketball, period. We even have a lot of guys that's overseas right now that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars just playing basketball, just chasing their dream. So I mean, Brooklyn, and the good thing about Brooklyn is we are the biggest borough. So you're gonna have way more hoopers, like Coney Island section in Brooklyn, they breed hoopers. Bed-Stuy, we breed hoopers. We bred Jamal Tinsley, the Marburys, the Stevensons, and all that came from Coney Island. So Fort Greens got Bernard King and all them guys. So Todd Gibson. So I mean, the list goes on and on. So basketball is definitely a big thing in Brooklyn.
Now, talk about, your time at Canarsie. You said you didn't get to play basketball until your junior year. Like, did you get to play on the team?
Yeah, I played on the team. I played varsity, and that was actually the year. Rest in peace, Tommy Allen. God bless the dad. But Tommy Allen had just left Canarsie. And he was the one that actually told me that, hey, I should give basketball a shot, give basketball a shot. And I was like, hey, I'll do it. At the time, I was 11th grade. I'm still the height I am now, 6'3". So, I mean, I was one of the bigger kids back then. So he was like, hey, give it a try. And then junior year comes, and come to find out he's not a coach there. So it was definitely heartbreaking at the time. At the time, Canarsie hired a dude who was a gym teacher. Like, he didn't know no X's and O's. He pretty much used to tell us, just go out there. And unfortunately, we got our asses kicked every game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a good experience playing for the guy, playing with my guys, and it definitely was a great experience. But I actually went to Canarsie to play football. So pretty much how I got there was I played football for the Brooklyn Titans. I ended up meeting one of the coaches from Canarsie, and he pretty much just stayed in contact with my peoples, and then they ended up sending me to Canarsie.
So talk about being a two-sport star in high school.
Not a star, just a two-sport player, man.
Playing two sports in high school. I apologize.
Oh man, it was tough. It was tough. It kind of broke the lazy cycle out of me. But at the end of the day, I always say it kind of made me lazier, because I mean, at that time, high school was a little culture shock, because that was my first time actually taking public transportation and stuff like that. So the reason why I stopped playing football was my sophomore year. We used to have practice every day. I'm talking about 24/7 committed to football. And me living in Bed-Stuy, and football practice ends at 7:30. I'm not getting home to 9:30. Then I still got to do homework, and I got to be up at 5:45, 6 o'clock to go back to school. So it got tough on me, and then I couldn't join my friends and do the things that they were doing and having fun and talking to the girls and going to Brownsville. So I started skipping practice. Just going around, going to the hood, going to Bama's, going to Brownsville, going to East New York, chilling in Linden Projects right across the street from Gersh Park. And before you know it, shit, after you miss about 2 or 3 practices, 2 or 3 turn into 4 or 5, 4 or 5 turn into 10, 15, then before you know it, you're not seeing no minutes. So that was the thing, and that was on JV. So I knew pretty much, like, hey, if I wasn't gonna take this serious on the JV level, it was no way I was gonna be able to be prepared for varsity.
So, now, fast forward to Team Dream. So how did that start for you?
Oh man, I actually started in Canarsie. So the funny story is, I actually got this in the book that I'm going to release. But pretty much it was me and a couple of my dudes that was in Canarsie, and pretty much at that time, this was right before I was junior year. Once I finished talking with Coach Allen, so this was the time that the Metro Hawks just shut down, because everybody in Canarsie played for the Metro Hawks. So we thought we was gonna play for the Metro Hawks. We thought we was gonna be lit. Man, Metro Hawks ended up shutting down. We would go to this one AAU teams. I don't even know if they still do tryouts, being that there's so many of them. But AAU teams used to have tryouts, and man, that used to be crazy. Like, we went to Riverside tryouts. We went to the Riverside Church, tried out, didn't make it. We went to the Gauchos, didn't make it. And shit, we going up against guys like, shit, it was a couple of possessions. We in a tryout. I had to fucking guard Omar Calhoun. And at that time, that motherfucker was dead, the best player in the city. So that was a culture shock. That's when I knew, like, okay, I ain't this high level kid that I think I am. My dudes ain't this high level guys they think they are. I mean, they would get cooked. This is the era, like, when Deshaun Suba and all of them was out. Like this, it was real deal. So I mean, we kind of went to so many tryouts and didn't get picked. We ended up getting picked for one team, and it was the Badgers, the Brooklyn Badgers. It was the first year that was out, and we ended up getting picked for them. But they picked so many guys, we were like, man, we want to go somewhere and play. Like, we just thought we were better than what we were. And pretty much, like, we started talking and everything. And we ended up playing our own team together, having our own practices. Some of the parents, my dad coached a little bit. My man Moses, his pops coached a lot. Then we started doing a lot of street tournaments. We actually started off doing Rumble in the Bronx. That was our first AAU tournament. That was our first and last AAU tournament. That was the first year they did Rumble in the Bronx. They did it up there at House of Sports. So we went up there. We actually won a game, crazy how it sounds. We won a game against some white boys. And it really wasn't no college coaches at our game, but it just made us feel good. Like, damn, we really could be, like, we really are, we not bad. So after that, we played in a lot of summer tournaments. Shout out to Stephon Marbury's brother. I mean, not Stephon, Sebastian Telfair's brother, who just passed away. He actually gave us the opportunity to play in his summer league at Coney Island, 3T Classic. And it was crazy because we won probably about 3 games that league. And I'll never forget, we got blown out about 40 by all the Coney Island kids. So Isaiah Lewis, Isaiah Whitehead, like that team was truck flood. Like that team was crazy. So we played there. We played in a couple other tournaments, in Williamsburg, and we just kept building it up. And the year after, like my senior year, I only played about 6 games in Canarsie. Like I just played 6 games. I was like, you know what? To hell with this. I ain't doing this anyway. I'm out. So my boys were kind of sort of still playing, but they really weren't playing. So in the meantime, what we did, we played in the adult league out there in Queens every Sunday night. And pretty much that adult league was lit. Like we won games in there, pretty much playing against 50-year-old guys who's just going to get cardio. So we're just trying to cook them and we're killing them and things like that. So fast forward to after graduation, I didn't go straight to college out of high school. I was in the streets. And one of my friends at the time, we actually went to Gersh Park. And my man used to live across the street from Gersh Park. And he's like, yeah, you know what, bro? You need to do a summer team. And I'm like, nah, man, it costs too much money, da-da-da. Like, I didn't see the kickback from it. But then he told me, like, a lot of these summer tournaments, they pay guys, and it's a great experience. And he wanted it for the clout. Like, he wanted it so all the females could say, oh, yeah, he got a team in it, this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. So the next summer, me and him put a couple teams in different spots. One of them was Gersh. The other one was Main Event out there in Farragut Project. And we did pretty solid. And what I did was all the guys that I grew up with and that I played with that ended up having an opportunity to go Division I, Division II, they all came back and played for me. So that's how our team dream really got started.
So talk about, you're a young coach, and I know it was difficult, having to come up with the money to pay for these events, but it made you an entrepreneur. Like, did you feel like a sense of independence by putting up money, being able to put up the money for these events?
Yeah. Well, like I said, at that time, I was doing some things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was in the street, so the money was it wasn't the big issue for me. On top of that, I had guys like my brother KK, and I had guys like my man Bolo, who I actually met randomly, and he pretty much came the secondary face for Team Dream. I had guys like that in my corner, so whenever I did need something or I wasn't there to provide something for my team, they would do it. So I mean, Gersh at that time, Gersh probably was running $2,000 just to get in. Gersh at that time was running $1,500. Shit, I was going in there paying the $1,500, then paying $60 for the ref fee each game. Then on top of that, paying dudes cabs to come all the way from Staten Island just to play in Brooklyn. Then on top of that, paying for their cabs to go back home and feeding them while we was in the park. So I mean, it definitely come with a price tag when you want to win.
So yeah, like talk about having a team in the Gersh Park tournament. Before they were just, a local tournament in Brooklyn, for the Brooklyn guys. And then it evolved, Sean Bell started coming there, to now they have a dual sponsorship with Nike and Jordan brand. And they even have teams from uptown coming in. Like, talk about, having teams in the tournament and how that tournament has grown.
Man, Gersh, I mean, I'm keeping a G with you. Gersh been popping before all the uptown teams came, before Sean Bell came. Gersh was our Brooklyn version of Dykeman. Brooklyn guys wasn't just going all the way up to Dykeman, spending $100 on a cab ride just to watch some basketball. We had Gersh. I mean, at the time, you had dudes like Irvin Walker. All the guys that's still killing in Gersh, they've been playing in Gersh for years. I mean, years. I mean, it was a time where one of the big games used to be the home team, PNW, versus Grey Goose, which is from the other side of East New York. And that game used to pack the park. I mean, pack the park. So Gersh pretty much is the same to me. Obviously, they have grown on the professional tip, which is definitely great. And now I get to see that they're reaping the benefits that they sowed 7 to 8 years ago. So honestly, I think Gersh was grown, and I think it's honestly good for Brooklyn. I mean, they have a great face. I mean, DP is a strictly businessman, great guy, fly tie on the mic. I think he's, besides Cha-Ching, him and Cha-Ching are pretty much equal in terms of who's the best MC. So Gersh Park is definitely growing. I like the direction it's heading.
Talk about, going to college now. So you went to a number of schools.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Clinton Junior College.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yeah, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Oh man, a lot of people never even heard about Clinton. I'm gonna be honest with you, but shout out to one of my guys. He's like a big brother to me. You probably know Quad Gibbs, the father of Juice Gibbs. Quad pretty much told me, like, he was the guy who told me. Actually, it was after we came back from the Goodman League one day in DC. He told me, like, oh man, I see you making money. I see you doing this and doing that. But bro, I think you could go somewhere with this stuff. Go to school, man. At that time, I didn't want to go to school. I didn't know about school. School was the last thing on my mind. I was making money. I'm like, man, what am I going to school for, man? Like, it ain't nothing for me out there. And then he kept drilling in my head. He even called the admissions office for me. That's how crazy it is. He called the admissions office for me. So he hit me with the, damn, they expecting you. So it came pretty much. I stacked up a little bit of bread, and I ended up going out there. I just told my people, like, hey, I'm going to South Carolina to try the school thing out. They didn't ask no questions. I packed up a bag. Packed up a couple bags, hopped on the plane, and I was in Charlotte. And Rock Hill was about 15, 20 minutes from Charlotte. So, I mean, Clinton was a great spot. It helped me get my start. It helped me get my academic start and my career started. I saw a lot of things that the average New Yorker doesn't see, and I saw a lot of things in the South where I could say, hey, I think I could conquer this, or I think I could do this. And I made a lot of friends there that I still actually talk to right now. So Clinton was a good experience. I actually met some great women there as well that's helping me out, that give me advice. Like, I've met a lot of people there that I still stay in contact with. And that's why I look at that as my second home.
Now, talk about, the team there. Like, what was that experience like, coaching them?
I've only coached them for probably a couple of games. I wasn't really active. I wasn't really active there yet. I pretty much just went there kind of sort of as a student. I paid my own way. Then I had financial aid that first year. Paid my way for school straight cash. School was about $10,000 for a semester. I paid that straight cash first day I got there. So me paying straight cash with school, I felt like I wasn't entitled to do nothing for nobody. Like, I didn't have to be at practice if I didn't want to, because I'm not getting a scholarship. I'm not getting no financial aid, so I do what I want. And I mean, we was right down the street from one of the best Division I schools in the state of South Carolina. So, that's going to keep me away, and all the women there and all the parties and all the drinking and stuff like that. So, yeah, I really wasn't active that first year.
Mm-hmm. So then, you go on to Clark Atlanta?
No, Valdosta State.
Okay, Valdosta. I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
talk about Valdosta State, where you really, 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 really got your grind on. Where you really
definitely.
Out. Like, talk about the Valdosta experience.
Well, it's crazy because one day I was driving down Sutter Avenue in East New York. I had just bought my second car. It was a Camaro, and I ended up driving down Sutter Avenue, and I get a call from like a Kentucky number. I'm like, damn, who's this Kentucky number calling me? I ignore it. Crazy how it sounds. The Kentucky number called me again. I'm like, damn, who the hell is this? And they call me again. So I pull over. I have a girl in the car with me. I pull over. And it's a white dude calling me. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? Da-da-da. And he's talking like he know me. So he tell me his name. And I'm like, damn, I know the name before, but I just can't put it to a face. So we're talking. And he's asking me like, hey, did you graduate? This, that, and the third. I'm like, where the hell did this guy know me from? Turns out I think he was recruiting me back in high school. I think he was at Rumble in the Bronx, and he was an NAIA coach at the time.
It's like Robert De Niro said in Goodfellas, you may know who we are, but we know who you are. So that's how the coach was on.
Yeah, so he called me trying to get a player. Actually, it was Thaddeus Hall at the time. So he got my help with that, and pretty much he didn't even need my help. Thaddeus was already going there. He just wanted to see what I knew. So I just felt it strange that he called me, and the next day he called me. He said, "Hey, you ever think about coaching?" I said, "Yeah, I mean, I coach in the summer leagues. Like, I do my thing out here, but what you mean?" He like, "Nah, college." I'm like, "Nah, I didn't think about that. I didn't even know what goes into college coaching. I didn't even know how to draw a play. All I knew was to get guys around and tell them like, yo, hey, play defense, guard your man." I didn't even know what help defense was, none of that. So things happened and he pretty much promised me a lot of stuff like, hey, I'm gonna get you into school. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. We're gonna have an apartment. I just got the job out here, so I'm gonna do my best to make sure you're good. And it was second week of August, so it was already too late because I pretty much paid Clinton for the next semester. So things started happening. He kept his promise to keep in touch every week. He used to hit me every day, damn near like he was recruiting me. Then that September, I actually went on a visit to Valdosta State. He paid for it and everything, like it was dope. And I fell in love with it. It was pretty much like a Division I, mid-major Division I program. And man, ever since then, he got me situated with the program, and then I jumped in the second semester of 2015. So ever since then, it was good. I learned a lot from him. His name is Coach Jason Mays, by the way. Learned a lot from him. Stood up late nights with him doing scouts and film breakdowns and helped him out with the bigs, workouts, and individual instruction and things of that nature. So I definitely learned a lot from him, and he's a big credit to where I'm at now because he taught me a lot of basketball things, but he also taught me a lot of manly things, especially like him being heavy, like a heavy Christian guy, and him being a family guy. Like he pretty much instilled values in me that nobody has really taught me. So we did good there. 2 years we made NCAA tournament appearances. Our second year though, we pretty much had a team of non-Division I guys, and we only lost 3 games that year. Was ranked as high as number 5 in the country, and we lost in our conference championship, and then we lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So after that, he decided to leave, and once he decided to leave, I decided like, hey, that was my cue as well.
So basically, what was it like being a student assistant on the college level?
Oh man, it was unique because some people rather go to high majors or Division Ones to be managers. With student assistants, you have input. Like this guy, whenever he would drive to Mississippi, he would call me, you in class? Yeah, I'm in class. Hey, tell your teacher basketball coach me. I'm gonna call your teacher, get you out of class. We about to hit the road to recruit. Oh, word? I gotta pack a bag? Nah, you don't. We'll be back at 3 a.m. Jumping in the car, driving to Mississippi with him. He's paying for food. He's paying for gas. I'm not paying for nothing. He's just showing me what to look for on guys and things like that. So a manager on the D1 level doesn't have that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
Then road trips, I got my own room. I didn't have to wash uniforms. That's what we had managers for. So managers on the Division I level don't get that luxury. I'm in his office with him breaking down tapes. I'm helping him do classroom checks. Managers like that, they don't have that luxury. So pretty much it felt like I was a real coach. I was just an undergrad. And I'll tell you one thing, I felt more like a grad assistant than the grad assistant felt like a grad assistant.
Right. Because basically, like, the managers are there to serve, you know what I'm saying, not to do. Like, they just there for the coaches to say, do this. And, you know what I'm saying, they basically there to be seen but not heard. You were seen and heard.
Yeah, and he let me be a voice in individual instruction, certain practices. He let me be a voice, like it was a good thing. But managers, I mean, I'm not no discredit to a Division I manager, but I mean, at the end of the day, besides them washing uniforms and putting uniforms out and wiping up floors and getting basketballs and things of that nature, coaches ain't listening to them when it comes to other things. So I mean, that was the best thing about being Division II and being a student manager. And I even tell guys this today: if you got an opportunity to be a graduate assistant, do it on the Division II level than D1 level. Because when you do it on the Division I level, all you are is a manager that they're paying to get his graduate degree, to get his master's degree. You do it on the Division II level, you get to recruit, you get to do scouts. You're pretty much an additional coach. Because a lot of Division IIs don't have the money to pay for 2 assistant coaches full time.
Right.
So a lot of them use 1 assistant coach, and then the second guy is normally a graduate assistant. So
now you go to Clark Atlanta. Like, how did that come about?
Well, it's pretty much crazy because while I was working at Clark Atlanta, I was still taking online classes at Valdosta State University. So I ended up getting my degree from Valdosta State last May. But pretty much that summer going into my last year at Valdosta State, Coach Alfred Jordan was the interim head coach at Clark Atlanta, and at the time, my coaches at Valdosta State, they didn't want the players that I was bringing in, pretty much because I don't know if they were too hood or just not their type of guys, but they were JUCO All-Americans. At the time, I had A.J. Williams. You know A.J. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Genesee Community College, upstate New York. Averaged damn near almost a double-double. I had Shamik Shepard. Shamik Shepard at the time was one of the best high major transfers at that time because he transferred from University of South Carolina. So he was a high major transfer that actually Division Ones were recruiting him when he left JUCO. And he would have came Division Two with me. They didn't want him. And then it was somebody else. Oh, and Samson Aquilo. Samson Aquilo was a 6'10" transfer from Manhattan College, a Division One school, who won back-to-back conference championships, and they didn't want him. So I'm like, damn, like, is it me that they not fucking with? Or
Right.
like, oh, these players really garbage. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna send them somewhere. I want these guys to be close to me. Turns out, Coach Jordan gets the interim job. Coach Jordan and I were friends on Facebook for a minute, but we never had one interaction. So I DM'd him, and he went through his DMs, and he hit me back, and we started talking. And then he called me, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. They not giving me this job, but I'm gonna keep these recruits in mind just in case I do get it or if something happens. I'll call you and let you know." I'm like, "I bet." So he kept his promise. He kept calling me. Once he found out they hired Coach Walker, and Coach Walker was keeping him, he asked me for the guys' numbers. He kept me in tune with everything the guys were doing. Pretty much, in the South region, they had one of the best signing classes that year. Like they brought in 2 Division One transfers, a JUCO All-American point guard. They brought in Damian Davis from the Bronx, who was a D1 transfer from FAMU. So at that time, they were bringing in talent that wasn't the normal for their conference.
Mm.
And sure enough, with that talent, they end up winning their conference championship. And at Valdosta, like I just told you, we didn't win our conference championship. So pretty much, he's sort of indebted to me because he always says, like, "Yo, bro, if you didn't give me those players, I don't know what would have happened." So, I mean, at the end of the day, all them guys graduated, this, that, and the third. But the year after they won the conference championship, it made Coach Walker look good as well. Made everybody look good. And then pretty much Jordan, once I told Jordan, like, "Yo, the guy that brought me in to Valdosta State is leaving," Jordan pretty much said, "Hey, come drive up to Atlanta." Atlanta was like 2.5 hours. So, yeah, drive up to Atlanta and let you meet Coach Walker. I'm going to see what we can do. I was talking with Coach Walker. I told him what I'm good at, video and stuff like that. Him being from the NBA, he was so used to having a video guy on him at all times. And pretty much he didn't have that because nobody at Clark Atlanta really knew how to break down video, how I knew how to. And pretty much everything fell in place. He was like, "Hey, I'm hiring you as my video guy, my assistant coach." So that's how Clark Atlanta transpired.
So talk about the success that you guys had there.
Clark Atlanta, I mean, it was a unique situation. I mean, first of all, you're in one of the best cities in America.
Mm.
Second of all, you're in a great spot. You know, one of the best HBCUs in America. So I mean, every Clark Atlanta sold itself. It was just like Valdosta State. It sold itself. All you had to do was just get guys committed. Coach Walker had no problem doing that. His resume pretty much made guys connect to him because they knew he was an NBA guy and they knew that he knew what they had to do to get to the next level. And pretty much, I mean, we had a talented team there. Yeah, I mean, by far we had 3 Division One transfers, like a lot of JUCO kids, just tough kids, and we ran the conference that year. We only lost 4 games, and out of the 4 games, we lost those 4 games in the past 3 weeks. I mean, in the last 3 weeks of the season, we lost 3 games. We lost to Morehouse. Yeah, we lost to Morehouse twice. And then the last 2 weeks of the season was when we lost in the conference tournament, conference championship, and then we lost the first round of the NCAA playoffs. So pretty much half of our losses came in the postseason. So
Now,
we had a 16-game winning streak.
so basically, after that, after Clark Atlanta's done, you went to Little Rock with Coach Walker and Al. Talk
But
about, you know, that year on the Division I level.
oh, that year it was a great experience. I'll be the first to tell you it was a great experience. He brought me there as his video coordinator. I didn't have my degree yet, so he looked out and gave me a role that he know I will excel in, and it'd be more comfortable for us because I was just his main video guy at Clark Atlanta. So it really wasn't no drop off. All it was just a different city, different state, and different players. That first year, we didn't really have the crew that we knew we could have, and we knew that the crew that we had wasn't that good. So we kind of expected that, but at the end of the day, we worked day in and day out, day in and day out, and pretty much we did the best we could. I mean, I think we won about 10 or 11 games. Had a guy who signed an NBA contract and Ray John Tucker. So I mean, as a staff, I think that we came together and we pretty much we took the lemons that we had and we made some pretty decent lemonade. It wasn't like grandma's, but we made some lemonade out of it.
So after that year at Little Rock, you went to your current spot now, Wiley College. You know, how did
Wiley
that come
College.
about? I'm sorry?
Yeah, Wiley College. So pretty much I made an announcement that I wasn't going back to Little Rock. I had a lot of pieces in my head, and I pretty much just wanted to be on the floor coaching. And I realized after a few stints of just listening to people's stories, I just realized that a lot of black guys in this business, you're not gonna win or you're not gonna move up unless you're in a position to. And as a video coordinator, you're not really in a position to move up. I mean, the white guys could do it. They could move up from video coordinators to assistant coaches just like that, but not a black guy. A black guy can't really do that. So pretty much I just thought it'd be in my best interest to go somewhere and be a coach because I know I could coach. I learned a lot from Coach Walker in those 2 years. I've been recruiting before college basketball. I've been recruiting guys to come play for me at Gersh Park. So to recruit a kid to come to a school for free, that's easy for me, you know?
Right.
So Coach Jordan and Coach Vincent Robinson, who's actually the associate head coach at Miles now, I trust those guys a lot. On July 4th, they called me, and I was setting up for my annual cookout on July 4th, so I didn't pick up. Finally, when I checked my phone, I had about 10 missed calls from them each. So they pretty much just told me it was this guy they knew, Chase Campbell. I've heard of Chase. Chase heard of me. They pretty much said he's getting the Wiley College job, and they think I should go with him. It pays pretty decent, 3 hours away from Little Rock. It's in Marshall, Texas. So that summer, Chase and I stayed in contact, and I ended up making the move to Wiley College.
So talk about, you know, your first class there. You brought Rakim Felder, who's also a Dave's Joint alum. How were you able to get Rakim to come through?
Oh well, Rakim and I, we have a great relationship. I don't like calling him Rakim. I just call him Ra. But yeah, myself and Ra, we have a pretty well relationship. I actually, as you know, his brother Devontae Grace, who's incarcerated right now. Me and Devontae Grace go way back, like from before playing basketball. Like even when we played ball, like we probably only played 2 games together, like on the same team, obviously, because Devontae Grace was a high major guy and shit. I probably was like a D3 guy, you know? So, but yeah, Devontae grew up right down the block from me. Devontae was cool. Even when Devontae said he's not playing ball and he was rapping, I was there for him.
Right.
You know, I was definitely there for him. And every time I see him, we would sit down and talk. So he always tried to help me out with his, at that time, Rakim, I think was at Lincoln, Indian Trail, one of them, Indian Land, sorry. And Devontae always used to try to put me on his younger brother. His younger brother is probably about 14, 15 years old. And he used to say, like, hey, you need to put him on Team Dream. I'll bring him up here, this, that, and the third. So when Devontae got incarcerated, I actually met Ra, actually just started locking in with Ra when he was at South Carolina. Sure enough, they had a lot of success there. And Ra got in some trouble down there, but they ended up making it to the Final Four. And Ra was a key focal point for that. So ever since he got in trouble, I've just been trying to be one of the guys that instead of talking down on him, try to help him out and make sure he's good mentally and physically and spiritually and things like that. So he comes up and he ends up transferring. And at the time I get Wiley College, I'm talking to Ra every day. I'm talking to Jameer Cheek every day. Jameer Cheek almost averaged a triple-double at Genesee as well. and they're both from the same block I'm from, Tompkins Avenue. So they from Valdosta, Brooklyn, New York, and pretty much I told them guys, hey, I was getting this job and I need them to come with me, and I didn't need to persuade those guys, because at the end of the day, the relationship outweighed the school. So pretty much all them guys came with me, and we did what we had to do at Wiley. The first class there was pretty tough. Chase got the job 2 weeks before school started. So, and they was returning 6 guys who pretty much averaged 18 points per game as a whole. So we had a lot of work to do. We brought Rakim Feld in, we brought Jameer Cheek in, we brought a kid from California and Adrian Dick. We brought a few guys in. Rod got hurt the first game when we played Southern. He messed up his groin and he hasn't been the same since. So he pretty much has just been, he pretty much been rehabbing, and he got his medical red shirt, so he still got 2 years left. Jameer averaged about 11 points per game, 6 assists. He was top 25 in the country for assists this year. So that was perfect. But the good thing is both of them guys got over 3.5 GPAs this year.
That's good, man. That's great. So being that you are, what's the difference between the NCAA and the NAIA? Like what? Like for all the kids out there that's probably wondering.
Yep. Man, no difference. D2 and NAIA is pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm a D2 coach, I'm not even mad that NAIAs are talking to my kid, because if I'm looking at an NAIAs and Division IIs are on the same scale, you got to think about it. Rakim Felder, after he transferred from South Carolina, he verbal to go to Kent State. I got him out to Kent State deal. So if a kid is ready to opt out from Kent State and come with you, then obviously it's not that much of a drop off. Same with Jameer Cheek. Jameer Cheek had a lot of Division IIs, like Roberts up north in upstate New York. He had a school called Mercyhurst, so he had a few schools. But I mean, at the end of the day, NAIA is not really no difference. Some NAIA schools get better scholarships than actually Division II schools.
Now that you had your first full season there, like basically, like if you could like remark on that, like, you know, reflect on that season, that 13-13 season.
Pretty much, I wish we got the job a little earlier to bring in some more talent. We did the best we could, and if I could reflect on it, it'd just be getting tougher guys, man. Like we weren't as tough as I like. Me being from Valdosta, Brooklyn, I like my guys tough, like forward tough. Like I want them to run through the wall, and we just didn't have those guys. We had a lot of guys on our team who had ulterior motives, and for the team that we had, finishing 13-13 wasn't that bad. But if I had my team in there, or coach had his team in there, we'd probably only lose 4 games. Like that, the level of the competition was easy. It was just we didn't have the team.
Now, like basically, like how's COVID-19 affected you?
It's had its pros and cons. I mean, I get to focus on myself more. Like I told you earlier, in the process of dropping the book, I've been delaying the book for a while, and now COVID has given me the opportunity to just sit back and work on it. So other than that, I've been working on my resume, been applying to jobs, actually applied to a few head jobs and been in finalist form. So COVID is helping me become a better person. But in terms of recruiting, I'm still hitting the ground running and trying to get guys to come in. As of right now, I know Wiley College furloughed everybody, and they don't know when that's going to end. So in regards to Wiley, that's pretty much the situation.
So basically, like with all this uncertainty going on, like how do you deal with recruiting? Like, do you show the kids like a virtual tour? Like how do you sell the school now?
I've designed a PowerPoint that I show a lot of kids the PowerPoint, like, hey, this could be you, this, that, and the third. And I have a lot of guys on the PowerPoint who I've worked with, like Rakim Felder, Ray John Tucker, Bo Justice, who was at Valdosta State. He ended up being a player of the year in the conference, ended up being a D2 All-American, and a few of my guys from Clark, Atlanta that succeeded. I pretty much have a video of them all compiled into one, pretty much telling guys, like, what is it like to play for Coach Frazier, you know? So, so guys, Dad, I actually bought a drone before I left Marshall. So pretty much with that drone, I got a few aerial shots of Wiley College. I have a lot of pictures of all the gymnasium and the facility. So I mean, pretty much that I'm just trying to sell the school the best way I can.
Now, you've been through so much in your young life. You got your college degree. You've learned to be an entrepreneur at a young age. If you could go back to a much younger Dee, like Dee at 18, who's starting up Team Dream, what would you go back and tell 18-year-old Dee?
Just do what you do. Keep pushing. It's always light at the end of the tunnel. Keep pushing. Don't rush life. Don't try to script it, because like I always tell people, if I told you 6 years ago that I'll be a college basketball coach, living on my own, paying my own bills, I would be lying if I told you that I knew that this was going to happen. And a lot of people try to script life a lot, but life is not to be scripted. Like, I mean, a lot of people say, hey, I want to be a doctor, end up being a lawyer. A lot of people end up getting nursing degrees or biology degrees and end up working as a journalist. You know, so just don't script life. Just let it happen. And as long as you're working every day and doing the right thing, there's always light at the end of the tunnel for people doing the right thing.
Final question. What's next in the future for Daryl Dee Frazier?
Hey man, like I said, I can't script it. I don't know. I mean, maybe a Division II job may open up in the next couple of months, or maybe next week a job may open up. I'll keep you posted, but as of right now, really just not trying to script nothing, just living day by day. They could definitely be on the lookout for my book. I'm gonna try to drop it on July 1st. It's definitely gonna be a good book. Pretty much everything that it's talking about, I've really just discussed in here. So definitely be on the lookout for that.
Now, what's the name of the book gonna be?
Actually, it's called it's a memoir. It's a memoir, and it's pretty much just called "Live It, Don't Script It."
That's a great title. Very great title. Well, thank you, Dee, for coming on. I really appreciate you, and I wish you all the best in your journey. Wherever you go, you know, keep up the positive outlook. You know, like you said, don't script life. Continue to live life day by day, and I know that someday we'll probably be seeing you on ESPN.
That's the goal. But hey, if it doesn't work out that way, and I'm at a small school in Georgia forever as a head coach, or if I'm in Alaska, hey, stability is the key. But I'll definitely love to be on the big screen soon, and I definitely appreciate you for having me. And you talking about me, it's just great to see your growth. I mean, I remember when you asked me like, hey, what name should I go with? And I'll help you select Dave's joint. So it's definitely good to see all the guys you've been got in contact with. Every time I'm home for the summer, I always bump into you somewhere at a tournament. So it's always good to see you out there grinding as well. So kudos to you and the whole Dave's joint.
Well, thank you everybody for watching episode 3. Keep looking for more episodes, man.
Yes, sir. Hold on, one shout out. Let me shout out my guy Alfred Jordan. Shout out to my man Alfred Jordan. Shout out to Coach Darryl Walker. Shout out to my guy Chase Campbell, Coach Jason Mays. That's at Ashland High School right now in Kentucky. He actually went, I think, 33-0 this season, and he won the Kentucky Coach of the Year. So congratulations to him. But on the other tip, just congratulations to everybody that's doing something, that's just staying focused during this time, and things are definitely going to get better. So everybody just prepare for life after COVID, because it's definitely going to be a life after this. Obviously, shout out to the guys who helped start Team Dream. We're not Team Dream no more. We're Dodge City BGM. So shout out to all the guys, Dodge City BGM, Tonkins Ave. And that's it, man. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
Indeed. Until next time, guys.